Hello, friends. Hello. It is Tuesday, and as always, I talk about vocal magic things. The biggest thing in my world this week has been so much allowing in myself, in my students, just allowing everything. Hi, Nate. Welcome. Nice to see you. So we've been talking about allowing and how that fits into your voice and how we can kind of shift the default patterning that we have, a lot of us, especially as adults, especially as perfectionist adults, as overthinker adults, that pattern that we have really gotten ingrained into ourselves and our bodies about singing, which for a lot of us is, how do I effort more to make this note happen? And so much of the time when we're talking about high notes, either belty or head voice notes, or just more powerful in general, or stronger runs, or breath support, breath control, endurance, so much of what we're looking for comes from not over efforting in the wrong places. So a lot of times when we do these things, everything ends up coming into here. Everything ends up defaulting into here when anything else that we try and do either fails or has never been trained into working with your voice in the first place. So I talk a lot about whole body singing, which involves, like, you are not just singing from this little place right here, even though that's kind of where most of our patterns take us into, especially when you're trying to be louder, when you're trying to sing a longer note. The second your breath starts to wane, your body has a freak out moment of like, oh, I'm unsafe in this moment. I can't use my usual reserves of air, so I'm going to take it into here and I'm going to muscle the rest of that note into existence, right? Same thing with big, high, belty notes. When we feel a little unsafe, a little past our comfort zone, the body kind of takes over and is like, hey, guess what? I know you're scared of not making this note, but I'm going to squeeze and I think it'll help. Right? We're going to squeeze in here, and either your shoulders come up, your sides of your external vocal muscles work, or the front, which sometimes is related to your tongue. Like, everybody has a different place that this pattern comes in, but it always is coming from a place of, I don't feel safe to do what I'm trying to do, so my body is coming in as like a survival mechanism to help me. And so squeezing, over efforting, over muscling notes happens a whole lot. And that usually leads to the very thing that you are trying to avoid, because we're not allowing the possibility of a bad sound. Do you know what I mean? So when we're trying to sing a high belty note in our chest voice, say like a big, I don't know, like a B or something, like, I don't know if that's a B, I don't have perfect pitch, but we're trying to hit this really high, powerful sound. When we are above our comfort zone by a little bit, the tendency is to go in and let that fear be the driver, right? Like, oh God, here's this big note. Like, I'm scared of it. I always squeak when I hit it. Everything just doesn't sound as powerful as I want it to. So guess what? I need help, right? And so we recruit the help, which is the nervous system being doing what it does best, is like use the only thing that it knows is the thing that it's used in the past, right? It doesn't know anything new until we teach it anything new. So it uses those same mechanisms of, okay, you're afraid of something, let's go, right? Let's punch, let's fight, let's overengage. If you are a fighter or maybe a freezer, it's kind of the opposite feeling. Like, instead of going head first into that note to make it happen, your body is afraid of whatever is going to happen on the other side, a bad sound. So it closes down and shuts down the airflow. It stops you from making actual sound at all, or it closes just these muscles so that you just don't even give anything to that note in order to save yourself from hitting it wrong. So your body's just like, nope, we're just not going to do that at all. Thank you very much. I'm going to peace out. And this is a thing that really gets in our way a whole lot. You know, raise your hand if this happens to you. All of us. It happens to all of us. It happened to me. I was recording the other day. I was trying to do a big belty note. Guess what happened? Squeezy, right? I'm like, okay, shouldn't I know better? But then I was like, okay, well, I don't tell my students to talk to themselves like that, so I shouldn't talk to myself like that, right? And it's not your fault, right? As always, it's your nervous system feeling unsafe in that space. And even if it's just a little tiny squeeze in the face of this note that you want to feel more easy and free, it's still a matter of like, okay, yeah, it's not your fault. I know you know how to make a big sound, right? I know you know how to make this work for you. It's just a matter of bringing yourself back into alignment with your own safety, you know, and reminding your nervous system, often in the body's language, not in your brain language, to remind itself that it can stand down a little bit, right? Because it's on edge, because it's trying to save you from the bad note and whatever else your brain thinks is on the other side of that bad note. People being mad at you, unsafety, somebody yelling at you, somebody thinking you're too much, too loud, all the other things that we think of, all the gremlin voices, right? And so in order to do that, like, you can tell yourself, like, hey, it's okay, you can hit that note, no problem. But some part of your brain is stopping yourself from actually fully believing that, because it feels like it's still a lie, you know? If you're anything like me, I feel like that too. Affirmations are lovely. Sometimes they work. Sometimes your brain thinks you're a liar. And it's like, who are you to be saying this, right? You don't believe that, you're lying, right? So we kind of got to go in through the body and remind the body that it is safe. So before you go and hit that big note, instead of allowing that default pattern to come in and raise your shoulders, tighten your neck, tighten your jaw, tighten your tongue, on purpose, open all those things up. On purpose. If a little bit of tightness comes back before you hit the note, that's totally fine. We're just trying to learn a different feeling and a different pattern before you go to hit that note, right? So instead of reminding your brain, like, okay, yes, you could do this, you got it, just make it happen, that's going to be your brain fighting with itself, right? So if we go in through the body feeling reminds the brain that we are safe. And you don't have to do any of that war with yourself, right? It's just making your body safe. So my favorite thing to do is open up, right? Yes, breathing is great. Deep breathing is helpful. However, it takes a long time. My favorite quick way to get into safety, because your body in unsafety does this, it is either getting ready to run or to punch or to turtle. The best thing that we can do on purpose in the moment, if you have to step on stage or if you're, practicing and you don't have a lot of time, actually on purpose, just take your time, take a couple seconds and just open up everything, right? Because this pose is a pose of someone who is not in danger, right? So I like to think of it as angel wings, right? Put your angel wings on your back and open them up. Automatically your back muscles engage, your front side opens up like you are a safe person, right? You're not running from a tiger. My other favorite thing to do is kind of feels like the opposite, but it's not really, is Ruby Rose calls it a gravity blanket, but I like just the hug, because it reminds your body in its language with pressure points that you get from a real hug that you are in a safe place. You've got you, right? You are in an environment with a person who cares about you, and that is yourself, right? And you're telling your biology that by pressing on these pressure points. And from here, you can start to take those deep breaths, right? And you start to feel your snow globe settle a little bit. And so you can stay here as you go try and hit that big note again and see how it feels. But, don't force it because we don't want you to hurt yourself. Do the best you can to find openness instead of the body's default pattern of squeeze, manipulate, force, right? So just from here, start to try and open up a little bit even from this hug place, right? So like lift your ribs up off your hips, lift your shoulders up off your ribs, lift your head up off your shoulders. Everything's kind of just floaty. And now we go for that note. Ah! Everything feels so much more open in here. Whereas before it was like, ah, right? Squeeze is my default. That's my patterning in my body. That's the shape of squeeze, right? But if I change that shape and that energy and that pattern to I am safe, I am open, the note's going to come out a lot easier. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with if you're trying to sing a note that's too high or higher than your actual limit. That is a thing that is important to know about yourself. You have to allow, again, we're talking about allowing, you have to allow yourself to give yourself the gift of singing in a key that is more comfortable for you. And then maybe over time, we can slowly bring it back up. But if you're trying to sing a note that is past your bridge, so like anything above a B or a C for some people, you're going to find some strain in the guise of that tension that it just takes naturally to sing those notes, right? Because the extremes of your voice, at the very top of your chest voice and the very top of your head voice is going to be a little tight, right? There's going to be some pull, some stretch that naturally happens just from the nature of those notes. However, sometimes when we feel that, our body tries to put extra push on those so that it doesn't feel as pushy, which is strange, counterintuitive, but that's what our body does. Like, oh, this feels hard. Oh, I'm going to push harder so it's easier, right? But that is not the solution to that. Most of the time when we are feeling that over push, we need to take a step back, remind our body that we're safe. Just first of all, just notice how you're feeling and what your body needs right now. Like I talk about this in a lot of other places. Like give your body what it needs. Do you need a break? Do you need water? Do you need food? Do you need sleep? First of all, if you're getting really frustrated, chances are you probably need one of those things more than you need to be singing right now. And if you notice that, give your body what it needs. Take a moment to talk in your body's language about safety. Feel a little bit of that come down into a safer rung on the ladder of regulation. Then you try and sing it, and it's still really too high for you. If you feel that stretch and that strain, that's your cue. Okay, maybe this note is too high for me at this moment, right? We can always do some training to work on expanding your range a little bit. But in this moment, that note feels like it is unsustainable. And unsustainable is the thing that leads to you actually hurting yourself. And that's not what I want. So I'm all for you trying to belt, right? Like some teachers are like, no, I don't teach belting. But like your voice does it naturally. Why not? Let's just learn how to be so in tune with our body that we know what feels good and what doesn't feel good so intimately that I can belt with safety because I know I'm not going to allow myself to go into a place that my body feels like it's in danger, you know? So this is huge for most singers. We really got to get you into a place of allowing versus making shit happen. That is usually the key. That's usually the energy people come in with of like, okay, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, and I need to do this better because it sucks. That's the energy of forcing, of manipulating, of I'm not good enough as I am. I don't have the ability as I do right now, right? I am here to tell you that you do have the ability. Chances are you most likely do have the ability. You just haven't found the pattern that works best for you. And that's mostly what I do all day long, is I ask a lot of questions. I have people try different things, make them make weird sounds so that we can find a new pattern of openness and allowing and redirecting this need to effort somewhere else in your body, which is exactly what the angel wings do, which is what the knee bends do, which is pushing your feet into the ground, getting your abs involved, your lower and your oblique abs. All of that is distributing that weight so that we are not just allowing it to pull up in here and putting all that weight on these little teeny muscles that are not made for all that weight, right? So just think of it like you're helping a friend carry something really heavy, right? Allow your arms and your shoulders to engage, allow your abs to engage, allow your legs to engage, so that is what takes the weight of this big note that you're trying to hit, instead of allowing it to come up into here, right? So we're allowing the sound to show up in here without all the effort, because the effort can go other places, into these bigger, stronger muscles that can handle it, instead of these muscles, which are meant to be the steering wheel and be treated very gently. Just little teeny tweaks, not big muscled forcing movements. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if this is landing for you. So yeah, it's mostly about allowing. Allow is a word I use all day, every day. And that's what I mean by it. I mean, you already have it in you to make these sounds. It's just that you maybe haven't allowed yourself to release the pressure that we put on ourselves to sing powerfully and pretty and perfect. You know what I mean? So that is your little tidbit for today. And I got to go eat some foods. But I'm always here if you have questions. If you're, working on something and you have a question, a thought that you want me to cover in one of these, I'm here for you. I'm always here. This season of Vocal Magic, I am doing a lot of private coaching right now. It's very full studio, but I will be opening Vocal Magic in its new iteration in January. So if you're curious about how to work with me, it will be much more accessible this time, I promise. And there will be so many resources for you. So think about that. Put it on your wish list, your Christmas list for yourself. I will be opening the doors soonish. I don't have a date for you, I'm sorry, but keep that in mind. There will be more opportunities to work with me in January. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm restructuring. I'm doing a lot behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm always here for you. Send me messages and I will try and make a video about your question on Tuesdays. I am here at 6:30 Eastern every Tuesday, mostly, unless I need to cancel, which I haven't. I've been pretty good lately. So I'm here for you. Message me anytime. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see your face. So thank you, and I will see you very soon.
Everyone, so the team had a fun idea.
Oh, I didn't